All right, welcome to VOPTV. My name is Jude, Ikami Jude, and of course it's Matters right here in the studio. I am not alone. I'm here with Kela. Kela is here.
Hi.
Hi, Kela.
Hi, Jude. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. And I also have with me the former Commissioner of Police here with me. He is CP Chuks Ewomu. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, on the far side is Mr. Biga Ibekwe. He is a public affairs analyst. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
welcome, Sam.
Kayla.
All right, we take a quick look at what is happening in Anambra State today. That's where our journey will begin. All right, and we're looking at how far the election has been, what will happen, what has been happening, and a whole lot of persons in the state has been agitating, have been asking several questions. How will it go after the state assembly election? And of course, Soludo on his own part is kind of jittery, is, will I say, scared of what might happen. He's scared to lose the seat as a governor because he feels that if he doesn't get enough hands, all right, if he doesn't get the majority in the State House of Assembly, he might be impeached. These and many more are some of the things we'll be looking at back to back. So welcome. Let me start with former CP. CP, how can we place what is happening currently in Anambra State?
Well, the situation is such that we need to tell ourselves the truth. What happened in the last presidential election was really not expected to go to the extent it did. What am I trying to say? The Labour Party was underestimated in terms of the level of performance that was recorded. And at the end of the day, a lot of giants, political giants, went down. People like the governor of Enugu State, he could not get the senatorial seat. He was beaten silly. He couldn't even secure up to 50%. And the same thing affected Anambra State, where two senators emerged from the Labour Party. People like Moye Tony from Anambra North, where he got a sitting senator out in the person of Stella Odua. Of PDP. And the wife of the former governor, Obiano, came up too and lost out from the Apga'S party, which is party of the sitting governor.
Sitting governor.
Then come to Central, somebody like Ekunife, who has been a serial winner of the senatorial seat, that's Oka senatorial district, was thrown out by Victor Ome, who didn't even do much campaign. It was only Ifeanyi Oba of the YPP that retained his seat in Soludo'S senatorial district, which is Anambra South. So when you look at it, it's enough for the sitting governor to be very, very much concerned. And the same applied to a lot of seats in House of Reps. The phenomenon of obedience has gone beyond what everybody expected in the southeast, in the south-south, north-central, and now to Lagos. So that is the kind of hurricane that has been ongoing that would even put whoever is in position into a jittery situation. And that's why even in Lagos, you see that all other parties are worried about, they are trying all they can to bring down the Labour Party. The same is also happening in both Rivers, Delta, Edo states. Everybody there is worried and jittery. So that's just the scenario. And, you know, Soludo, being the sitting governor, would have calculated all those things, that he's getting to the precipice where by if the entire legislature, not necessarily entire, but a substantial percentage of the legislature is likely to go for the Labour. And if they do that, it will be a very big problem for him in governance of Anambra State, depending on how he's going to play the politics of day-to-day running of this state.
Let me touch on something quickly.
Yes.
Before now, we used to hear that those who are in the LP are just few percent, or those pushing the Labour Party are just two guys in a room using the computers to, do the necessaries for the party. And from there, it metamorphosed to the fact that it's now an online party. And now, several governors are now scared of what the Labour Party might be up to. Even in the House of Assembly election, the Lagos State governor is scared. Soludo is scared. But our focus today is not about Lagos State. It's about Anambra State.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you, why do you think Soludo is this scared?
You see, it's very, very clear that in the legislature, whichever party that has the majority controls that arm of the government. And that means possibly the speaker, the deputy speaker, will come from the majority party. The majority leader too. In other words, they will be the ones that will be controlling the legislature. That thus means that they cannot be used as rubber stamp to the governor, which is very, very good for democracy. They will stand there as check and balance to the excesses of overzealous chief executives of states. In other words, if you're the frugal type who assumes too much, that you're all-knowing, and in execution of projects, you can do them without recourse to the legislature, then that is where they will teach you a lesson that you may, for the rest of your life, you will not forget it. Because when it comes to appropriation, it is their duty.
Okay.
So if you think you can do it without them, go ahead and execute projects. At the end of the day, they will sit down and set the process to get you out of that place. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Before I come to Mr. Apga'S, I still want to ask you.
Yes.
Right now, Soludo is going around telling the citizens of the state to vote Apga. That if they don't vote Apga, then whatever they see, they should take. For instance, I watched a video, on social media where Soludo was publicly telling people to, as a matter of fact, vote for only Apga. Only Apga. If not, they will just take up salaries, and that is the State House of Assembly now. They'll just take up salaries. There will be nothing more. They will get nothing, and that's how it's going to go. Well, how would you react to that?
Well, that's a political statement.
You consider that a political statement?
Well, let me land. You know, every politician has his or her own strategy, and he has a target, how to convince the voters to woo them and get their votes. So, whichever way you go around it, you can bring in Machiavellian tactics, and that's exactly the area he's trying to explore. But at the end of the day, the voters are the final determinants of who will go there. No matter the way you try to convince or confuse them. Like in what I listened to, he spoke in Igbo language. His emphasis is that if you vote any other party that is not his own party, the man you're sending in there will only live on salary.
Okay.
And that no project will come to that place.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Apga'S,
Yes.
how would you conceptualize the latest move by Governor Charles Soludo in the forthcoming election?
Our Soludo was actually trying to protect his position. Like the Commissioner of Police has emphasized, he's becoming jittery. Because if you're the governor of a state and you don't control the house, it's a big problem on its own. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Appropriation belongs to the house. And whereby you don't control the appropriation through the house, you are in for big trouble. Additionally, the chances of impeachment is there, hanging you on the neck. All these are what Soludo is presently trying to see if he can, solve.
Okay.
To his own kind of advantage, this postponement of the election will give him some ample opportunities of going to do further negotiations. But let me tell you, the Labour Party phenomenon is too large for Soludo to actually handle. When you remember that some time ago, he was talking about P2B not being the president Nigeria needs. You see the kind of attack that even came from his own state, Anambra. Do you get it? All of a sudden, the election came and you saw what happened. So, it is natural that he will be jittery. It is natural that he will fight to kind of protect his position. It's quite obvious. Do you get it?
Yes.
So, what I really think, and this is seriously thinking, Anambra State and Soludo is in for something very, very, very negative.
Yes, sir. That brings me to my question. So, do you think the people of Anambra are ready to impeach Governor Soludo? Do you think at this point they are ready to let him go?
No, we're not talking about impeachment right now.
Yes.
It's not even impeachment. I want to let you know that P2B, during his time as governor of Anambra State, was from Apga. PDP were more in the house. And they never, when they impeached and he went to court and came back, they never succeeded in impeaching him again. It all depends on what card are you playing. What power of negotiation do you have? What strength of persuasion do you have? Who are you talking to? What are you doing? Do you get it?
Now, for me, I feel that this fight is now, getting a little bit tougher. How? Because it's now between Governor Soludo and Obedience. Obedience are, for me, doing this because Soludo is not for, their candidate. It's not for Peter Obi. And so many people have been asking questions. You are an Igbo man. And
you are
Obi,
from Anambra too.
From Anambra State, of course.
And let
yes.
me tell you, let me shock you. The distance between Agolo, where Peter Obi is coming from, and the Sofia, where Professor Soludo is coming from, is just like the distance between the nose and the mouth. Very close. Do you get it?
Yeah.
But all these are what we call political manipulations. Everybody is interested in his own interest. Otherwise, if it were other spheres of life, other areas of life, which is not political, the two of them could be the best of friends. Because they are coming from neighbors. Okay, if you're coming from Isofia, you are driving to Agolo, you just pass Nanka, and you are into Agolo.
Okay.
It's just between, if you're taking you just pass Isofia there or over there and you are there. It's the next town. You might be surprised that even in the forest, they might have, you don't pass any town. Do you get it? So
with the way the drama is playing out right now, do you think Soludo will get, majority in the State House of Assembly?
Well, that's why I said he has a little advantage right now because of the postponement of the election to the 18th of March. But if
Or you think it's to his favor?
Yes, if you were to ask me, if the election were to be held next Saturday on the 11th, the mood of the Anambra people is towards Labour. And you can see what Labour have done in this election. You can see that everybody is saying Labour is the party of the future. Do you get it?
Okay.
A party that from beginning, like the Commissioner of Police said, was assumed to be inside the room, that was said to have no structure, was said to be a two-man thing, all of a sudden is winning presidential election in Lagos State, which have never happened since 30 years ago. Tell me, if you were in the position of Soludo, will you not be jittery? Will you not be concerned?
Mr. Bigger, hold on,
Yes.
please. Hold on. Let me come to you, sir. They say time, from what he said, they say time heals wounds, right?
Yes.
Now, the way it is now, the Anambra people are very, very angry with the governor. Do you think this time frame that we have from now, this postponement of election date, from now till 18th of March, you think that this time is enough to heal this wound that we see?
I don't think so.
But let me comment. We're not talking about healing wounds. We are talking about negotiations. We are talking about discussions. We are talking about going to meet persons.
The question is do you think this time is enough for these negotiations to happen?
I don't think so.
I don't really think so too, but then it's better than nothing. Do you hear me? It's better than nothing. There are opinion molders, opinion leaders who most probably would be approached. The kind of devastating defeat that would have happened on the 11th would be mellowed down. You can quote me on that. You can take that to the bank.
Maybe I should also throw this question open. Why you think Soludo is against Peter Obi's move
To
to
build
be
a
the
strong
president?
party.
Yes. No, before I come to you, let me ask CP. Why do you think he is against his own man? I mean, his own brother,
It is,
so to speak.
well, it is ambition. Question of ambition. Maybe, I may be right or wrong, himself, being the sitting governor, could be interested in that presidential position. So for now, he is...
You think he has been
preparing-
promised, allegedly?
Whether promised or not, he would have on his own tacitly been planning how he will get there.
But seeing his action now towards Peter Obi, do you think people will want to vote for him if he wants to get there eventually?
Well, to get there, number one, let him even finish his 4 years as governor first, because he has a lot of hurdles ahead of him. And you know, politics.
And
the
for
way it is,
some have said that he might not even finish his term.
that is where I'm going now. You know, politics in itself is dicey. And he needs to be very, very careful, because if at the end of the day he finds his party in the opposition
Okay.
at the legislature, that's the first sign of trouble. In other words, he cannot bulldoze the assembly to assent to his proposals, and he has to compromise. But if he feels that he's arrogant and goes ahead to take decisions that are impeachable, like Bigger mentioned, they'll set the process in motion. So you see that he has been boxed to a corner. He will be edged to a corner. That's what he's doing, a political battle. That's what is giving him sleepless night. He wouldn't want that to happen. Because similar thing happened to Peter Obi when he was governor of Anambra. He found, I don't know whether he had up to 20% members of the assembly from Apga'S. The majority was PDP. And that got him impeached. Not that he committed any impeachable offense, but he was always at loggerhead with the members of the House. Members of the House, we have the opinion that it is you chop, I chop. And he said, no, that's not how to run government. Governance is all about service to the people. They now got themselves ganged up and wrongly impeached him. Brought in a Tiaba, who happens to be the deputy governor.
Yes.
He went to court. He went the whole hog, almost 11 months, up to Supreme Court and got his judgment. And that brought him back. That was what affected the staggering of election in Anambra
In the state.
In the
Yes.
state. First, he got Ngige out in appeal, from tribunal to appeal. Came. They said, okay, now that you have come, you in Apga, PDP is the majority. Let's see how you get on. And they wanted this idea of, if we sit and agree, we share, you take your own, we take. He said he doesn't run that type of government. And that was what got him out. And he eventually came back. But the magic happened when he came for second term.
Good.
By 2010.
Yes.
He had now been able to, control the legislature. Good number of people now supported Apga massively to dominate the House.
What really happened was, by the time he came back, and he began some very massive constructions
Yes,
all over the state.
yes.
He brought the people's mind to himself. The members of the House of Assembly have not got any other option
Than to support
because they
him.
saw this man is a star. P2B was a star in Anambra State then. Construction of roads, the hospitals were rehabilitated. Anambra State was taken first in WAEC. You get it? So there was service being delivered. You will become very unpopular as a member of the House of Assembly if you don't support this particular phenomenon that was going around in Anambra State. So he was not able to win members of the House of Assemblies to himself, to his party, Apga. Do you get it? Hey, I remember something. Before his impeachment, a colleague, a friend of mine, very deep friend of mine, late Echezon Okechi, was leading the group of guys who were, trying to impeach him. And they went to Asaba. I called him. I said, what exactly is the offense of this man? He was telling me that they belong to PDP. Do you get it?
Okay.
How will they allow somebody who is in Apga to be the governor? Now, is this precisely what Soludo wants to avoid right now? Do you get it? If you see how the election, the scores were done in Anambra State, you will see that people massively supported Labour Party. If they repeat the same thing in the assembly elections, Soludo will go to become a minority governor. So what he's trying actually to do is to protect his office.
Okay.
But then there is a caveat there. There is a very strong caveat. The way he's taking it might boomerang. The people might get so offended. Do you get it? If I were in a position to advise him, there could have been a better way to speak to the people. You could have said, well, these Labour Party people are part of us. We are Labour Party. Remember, Apga is here. Give them historical nature of Apga, where it come from Ikemba and all those stuff. Play to their emotions and their mind. Don't be so direct and start doing what you're doing, it's going to boomerang.
No. For the governor Soludo to remain relevant and to stay afloat, I was listening to Senator Victor Ume while he was saying that the governor should apologize to Ndibo, apologize to Nigerians, for the fact that he was working against the candidacy of Peter Obi. And I'm asking myself, is it possible for this man at this point in time to apologize, to Peter Obi, to remain relevant?
To
remain relevant.
To the extent I know Soludo, he's a very proud person, very arrogant. Even though he's the governor of Anambra State, he has his own faults. I've known Soludo for like close to 30-something years now. No, more than 30-something, close to 40. We entered the University of Nigeria the same year, myself, Soludo, and Peter Obi. We were in the same faculty of social sciences. We entered 80, and we all graduated 84. We all know ourselves on one-on-one basis. Okay. I give credit to Soludo for his intellect, very sound and astute politically. When we were in the university, he used to be in the parliament, in the House of Reps. I was in the Senate. Obi was not part of us politically. We were activists in school. Obi was interested in doing his business, very astute businessman. I was even surprised when he told me in 2002 that he was going for governorship of Anambra. I started laughing. He came for one Onitsha function in Sulere, one big field in Sulere. So he called me, and I asked him, "Are you sure that you can? What of all your businesses?" He said, "Don't worry." That he has been engaging people, doing consultations. That's okay. I wish you the best. And as at the time I'm making a reference to, Soludo was busy in the university as a professor. And one time I saw Soludo, he was going for an international conference in Kenya, and we traveled together from the east to Lagos. And I wished him the best. He said he had been traveling to so many countries. Thank God he was able to eventually become the economic advisor. 2003, by 2004, he became governor of Central Bank. What I'm trying to say in essence is that the man I know would think that he has taken his decision and he owes nobody any explanation. That the whole thing is political, that in as much as Obi is pursuing presidency, I'm sure he will be silent on that. Himself too, I believe, is also nursing his ambition to later come for that presidential position. That is the Soludo I know.
You think so?
So you're saying he's not going to apologize? He's not going to even
I don't think so. The Soludo I know, he will ask you, apologize for what? That it is all political. That anyhow you find yourself into a position, so be it. So long as it is fair and square, that is politics. But there are certain statements and utterances one needs to guard against when you are a political figure. That is why people like Azikiwe, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, you can read about him. The way he did his politics, he was such a dogged politician. And he was winning the heart of the people. They were always with him, across language, across tribal barriers. And the same method is what I could see in the person of Peter Obi. When he declared for presidency, I was like, how would he go about this? Especially when he left the PDP and moved to Labour. I said, okay, I wish him the best. I wish him luck. And good enough, he was highly organized and he was facing the facts and moving from one hurdle to the other. That was exactly how he won the heart
Of the people.
of the people, or especially of the youth, who constitute good percentage and chunk of the voters. And that's exactly what reflected itself in the election 2 weeks ago.
Mr. Finger.
Yes.
So I want to ask you a question. If Governor Soludo ever considers apologizing to Peter Obi like Senator Umer said, do you think it's going to help him in a way, and help maybe the people of Anambra will see him and consider, his statement for voting for the candidate of Apga?
I can certainly tell you that the time is too short for such an apology to carry enough weight or produce enough results. But I can as well tell you, like the Commissioner of Police Jukes have said, Soludo is not likely going to apologize. But there are ways and there are things he could do. He got press people. Press people who will try to put up some writings to mellow down the weight of that is outing. They will try to paint it in a better platform. Do you get it? Mm-hmm. He definitely might not, because of his nature, come to say, Anambra people, I am sorry. Otherwise, he would have said that when he made the other statement. Do you get it? Before the presidential election. But he never did. So, I don't look forward to seeing Soludo as a person coming to say, I am sorry. It doesn't exist. Okay, but his press people.
Let me return this question to you. So do you think he needs to apologize to Peter Obi?
We're not talking about apologizing to Peter Obi. Yes. We're even not talking about
the people of Anambra.
Good.
Yes, the people of Anambra. Do you think he should even apologize?
I strongly think he owes the people explanation. Call it apologize, call it whatever. He owes an explanation to the people to let them know that he's not fighting Labour Party. He's not fighting Peter Obi. Because the more you try to take this confrontational stance against Peter Obi, you provoke the people to anger. The youths especially, they believe you are destroying their hope. They believe you are fighting their aspiration. They believe you kind of want to erase the kind of future they have. It is as deep as that. Do you get it? That is why.
All right. Let's take this discussion to another level. And that level is, for some persons, for the citizens of Anambra State, they've said that some of the things that the governor is doing right now is as a result of the fact that one man is actually advising him, giving him a wrong advice. And some fingers are actually pointing to Apga'S, and that he is the person whom, the governor is following, that the governor is following the footsteps of Apga'S. What do you have to say about that?
Well, like I told you, the Soludo I know for 42, 43 years now is a very proud person. Whether you promise him you're going to give him presidency, would not make him change his attitude or his character. Whatever decisions he takes, he stands by it. He's a very strong character. He cannot be moved. But sometimes in politics, you need to have that quality of adaptability, where you always try to navigate. That's the method Zeke was always using. Well, having said this, there's one area that people should look at. Soludo is not going for election. his case is different from the Lagos scenario.
Sure.
The Lagos scenario is going for second term. His only concern is to control the legislature. And he has started in a way that may be counterproductive for him and his party by some of those statements he has made. And unless it will take his supporters and those around him to go and know how to mend the fence. If you expect him to come openly to make statements, I don't see Soludo doing that. That is one aspect of it. Then on the other side, I will also expect the voters and the people of Anambra not to take this thing too far, because the P2B phenomenon has gone beyond Anambra. It is a national thing. It is obvious to them that the whole nation are right behind him. You know, the youth are with him. So that is the area. Let them not begin to create impression that this man, let them not diminish him, that he's a champion for Anambra. He has passed that level. He has gone beyond the southeast, gone beyond the south-south, had incursion in southwest, as well as the middle belt. So they shouldn't treat it as if the issue is being narrowed to Anambra per se. Whatever it is, at the end of the day, after the election would have been conducted by the grace of God, free, fair, and credible election, we will take it up from there.
We'll take it up from there. Okay, before we begin to wrap up, I want to feel your pulse as regards the last election, the presidential election. A whole lot of persons have come out to say it was marred by several irregularities. It wasn't free, it wasn't fair, neither was it credible. In fact, they've come out to say that Peter Obi won in all sides, got 25%, did everything, met all standards. But still, the votes was given to another candidate. It was given to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And Nigerians have been clamoring. In fact, for the first time I noticed that after an election and a winner emerged, there has been no celebration whatsoever. Now, would you say the fault is from the BVAS machines, one? Would you say the fault, we trace the fault to INEC chairman himself, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu? Or we say maybe it is some of the touts, some of these issues that happen at the polling booths or the polling units? Where do we place that?
I will actually tell you something. When you head an institution, if that institution could not deliver, if it flops, because as far as I am concerned, when you go through the international report of the election, what international press and observers were saying about the election, you will go home and cry. So when you head an institution and the institution does not deliver, the ball ends at your own table. You are responsible.
Okay.
Now, the hopes that was created for Nigerians was much. From the period of Jonathan, we began to see great improvement in the conduction of elections in Nigeria. All of a sudden, we have gone backwards. 30 decades backwards. Mahmoud, who has INEC, who promised the magic of beavers, is responsible, as far as I'm concerned, because he has the institution.
Okay, he's responsible. CP.
Yes.
Now, let's look at who this mandate will be given to at the end of the day. If Ashiwaju will remain with the mandate, or the mandate will be given to Peter Obi or Atiku Abubakar.
It's left for the court to decide. Nigerians are watching.
Okay.
Let the process unfold itself. Then, at the end of the day, when judgment has been delivered, then Nigerians will know what to do.
Talking about judgment, do you think the Supreme Court can deliver or will deliver a sound judgment? Will look at it the way it should be?
Until we get there, let them finish at the level they are now. And I will not want to comment because it will be sub judice.
Exactly.
The court is sitting on it. The best we can do is to fold our hands and watch the scenario unfold itself. That's the best we can do for now. Having said that, my own emphasis and pleadings to Nigerians is whatever may have happened in terms of the coming election, I'm not talking of presidential, because that one is on course. They should eschew violence and try as much as they can to allow people to, cast their votes. All this hullabaloo of trying to disenfranchise Nigerians, it is very, very inappropriate. And it is not encouraging, and it is not the way forward for our future political development. I mean, it's really discouraging. Look at the number of people that trooped out, getting their PVCs and got themselves ready. From what we were watching in the media and reading in the print media and watching on the electronic media too, you find out a lot of people were injured for no fault of theirs. A lot of people were deprived from, exercising their rights of vote. In 21st century developing nation like Nigeria, it is really wrong. So I, in my position, will always advocate for peace and concord, an atmosphere that is devoid of violence. If you know you don't have PVC, you are not registered, sit in your house. Why will you, how much are you even going to collect to go and commit arson, set people's houses ablaze, deny people voting, commit assault occasioning harm on voters, whose responsibility it is to determine who they want? You cannot force on them who to vote for.
Okay, Mr. Bida, please, quickly, I want to know what you have to say to the people of Anambra now, because I believe they are not, they have a mind of their own not to be cajoled by, Governor Soludo or the elite of Apga'S in Anambra. So what would you say to the people of Anambra now?
Oh, well, what I got to tell the people of Anambra, on the 18th of March is another opportunity for them to vote their conscience. You hear me? Let them go vote their conscience. Vote for the man you believe when you go home you sleep. Let nobody cajole you. Let nobody force you. Let nobody, push you into doing what you don't want to do. Vote your conscience. If Labour gets majority of the vote, that's not the end of Soludo's political career. And Soludo too got to understand that. Some politicians in Anambra are afraid that if Labour comes and becomes too strong, Apga'S dies. And that is the fear. But then,
Really?
that's part of the fear.
Okay.
Yes. if Soludo becomes, if Peter Obi becomes so strong, if Peter Obi becomes so strong and Labour becomes so strong and they win the houses, Apga might collapse. But it doesn't work out that way. God is the supreme being who decides what happens and what should be. So, all I can tell Anambra people, vote your conscience. Go home. Sleep. That's it.
Now, before we wrap up, just a final one for the Commissioner of Police here. You're a security personnel, and I want to believe that you've also seen some videos, making the rounds on social media, where some persons are actually threatening, Igbos, so to speak, in Lagos. I've seen a couple of videos on social media where they practically tell them not to come out. If you are not voting for a certain candidate, don't bother coming out to do anything. And, up until now, we've not heard or seen any arrests made so far.
It's of very serious concern. I've been in touch with the Assistant Inspector General of Police for Zone 2, on this issue. And I've been, putting so much pressure on him that, look, you need to be very decisive. And he assured me that he has been doing a lot. And I told him the lot you're doing has not been really visible because we are yet to be seeing people who have been arrested for all this arson, for all this attempted murder. Because when you use sharp object like knife or machete on a woman, almost trying to blind her for no offense, just because she has come to vote, is enough for the suspect, if they were able to arrest him or them, to be charged for attempted murder. So who have you been able to arrest? What I expect the security agencies to do is to, number one, to be proactive by continuous warnings to the members of the public that what had happened the last time, let us take it that we have been taken unawares. That anybody that wants to dare them now, who comes out to commit any form of violence, either by threat, harassment, or intimidation, if you are caught, the long arm of the law will not spare you. We'll make sure the full wrath of the law is brought against you. When I was Commissioner of Police in Oyo State, that was the type of statement I was always making. Anytime we have issues like this, I was always using my PRO. In fact, most times I was the one who would do the right thing, what I want to. Sometimes I would do it myself. I would go to television stations, I would go to radio stations, and I would keep warning them. And not only warning, I was matching my words with action. I had to put out tactical teams, and they were making arrests. And we will investigate them, we will get evidence against them, and we will charge them to court. Some of them, as we speak, are presently in correctional service, or what you call prison. They are in jail now. I had to set that record in Oyo. Irrespective of the fact that I can't speak the language, I'm not from that state. That is immaterial. But call a spade, and not a garden fake. That is my position and stand. And until they do that, in fact, when I was watching one of the social media and saw the way soldiers were flogging the hell out of those animals, I was so pleased, as it gave me some relief. But that has not transformed to some of them restraining themselves, because it is supposed to have been like deterrent to them. Yet the same set of people are going around threatening what they are going to do, and so on and so forth. At this 21st century, we are supposed to have gone beyond that. Who are you threatening? What is the offense of those people who are going to cast their votes? Like that of Lagos as a case study. If you look at it, the percentage of Igbos in Lagos are not enough to give them that
Victory.
No. It is reaction of the youth, from across tribal and religious line, that look, we need some change. We need to make a statement that this group of people had stayed for too long. let us try another set. That's the kind of statement they had made. You understand what I'm saying?
Very well.
And like to add to what Mr. Biga said about the Anambra trying to protect Apga. One name is as good as the other. They can collapse Apga. What stops them from collapsing Apga? And meld themselves either into PDP or
I
Labour.
wonder.
They did it in Southwest. We used to have AD.
AC.
AD.
AD from AD.
AD had about
Alliance
5
for
states.
Democracy.
Yes, Alliance for Democracy. That was what produced the present presidential candidate of APC. From there, they saw that 2003, they lost all the states except Lagos. They had to
Rework
change
themselves.
the tactics. And the man just left the Apga, formed AC, Action Congress, under which Atiku himself tried to achieve his presidential ambition in 2007. Then by 2010, they metamorphosed again to ACN, Action Congress of Nigeria. That was what Ngige used to pursue his ambition of becoming governor in Anambra, and he didn't get it. He came second. Soludo came third in 2010. Before he used it to get to Senate in 2011 in that Anambra state, the same ACN. Before finally this same ACN metamorphosed into APC, coming into coalition with CPC of Muhammadu Buhari, AMPP, the former party of Buhari, and part of Apga. So for somebody to say we are sticking religiously or tenaciously to
A name
Apga doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't really make
It doesn't make
sense.
any sense. So maybe let's see after this National Assembly elections, because that's the only election in Anambra. They are not going for governorship. The governor is already sitting there. Whatever it turns out will determine whether that their Apga will continue or they will melt into either PDP or Labour Party.
We shall return to discuss all of these things again next week by the special grace of God. But I want to thank you, CP, for coming.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much for coming. And also, Mr. Biga Ibekwe, thank you so very much for coming. Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
My name is Jude Ikami Jude. And of course, it's been a beautiful one having Kela around, Kela Abraham. Yeah. We'll be here again next week by the special grace of God. Until next week, do have a beautiful day. Bye.